As we've continued this series on what you should know and preparing for reopening after COVID, I wanted to go back into the archives to about a year ago when we interviewed two individuals. They're both BDRs and SDRs, and they were giving some advice and things that sales professionals and like you and me could do right now in the middle of the pandemic. But I feel some of these practices still apply when we do open back up. I hope you enjoy this episode. Let me know what you think. We're going back into the archives. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast here on TSC TV on YouTube. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going back into the archives. We're going to talk to two of our friends, Amanda and Jason. About a year ago, I connected with these individuals, and we were talking about this. Actually, it was through LinkedIn. I wanted to figure out what are some things SDR and BDRs are doing right now during the pandemic, and how they can, how this can help other sellers when it comes towards LinkedIn. And they shared some really good insights. These things can still apply to us, even though we're reopening right now. I want you to take advantage of listening to some of the things here. Listen to what Amanda shares, some of these ideas that she's doing with her team, and some of the things that Jason shares as well. Invite somebody that you know to go back and listen to this episode and share it with them. And if this is your first time listening to our podcast, please go ahead and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It would go a long way, and we greatly appreciate it. Anyways, let's go back and dive into this episode. So, Amanda and Jason.
Thanks,
Donald. Appreciate you having us.
Well, I appreciate you, both of you, joining us today and to share some insights, because a lot of us now who are entry-level sellers or BDRs, SDRs, or frontline folks, people who are there to call the prospect, they're having some tough times. I mean, we're in the middle of COVID right now. We're trying to figure out what are we going to do and how we're best going to go about to be successful in our role. But many of us are spending time on LinkedIn, and I want to pick your brain to learn what are some of the things that you're doing as folks who are SDRs, things that are working for you. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, I want to get from you all just a little bit more about you and what you do. So, Amanda, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, thanks. So I was born and raised in Virginia Beach. I moved to Tampa probably about a year and a half ago to work for Blue Grace. So I've been a BDR, now a team lead. Started BDR about 4 years ago. So I absolutely love selling. But right now I'm working for Blue Grace Logistics in Tampa.
Awesome. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Chicago. So I came down to Tampa actually for school here, the University of Tampa. I've worked in sports sponsorship, and event sponsorship, and then found my way to Blue Grace. So that's just about 10 minutes from downtown, so it's a perfect location. That's where I met Amanda, and she's kind of taught me how to be a full BDR in the logistics industry. So it's been great.
Nice. So Amanda got all these secrets that she's going to share now, pass on to us.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, let's just talk about it. I mean, it's like the elephant in the room. Selling during COVID, at this time, what are some of your initial feelings about selling at this time? Let's start off with you, Amanda. Any thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So my initial thought was, this is going to be very awkward.
Especially in the logistics
just being honest. Yeah. Especially in the logistics world, a lot of manufacturing companies are, shutting down or taking time at home right now. So my initial thought was, this is going to be very awkward. But the more you think about it, we're here really as a resource and to try to help other companies that are probably feeling the same way we are right now.
Yeah. How about you, Jason? What were some of your thoughts like a week ago or 2 weeks ago when this stuff started coming down?
Yeah. This is our third week working from home now. So I think my initial thought was like, oh man, sales during a pandemic. Nobody's going to be buying anything. And it was a tough first week, but I think realizing that we are, essential to helping, manage transportation for essential products. It's cool to be able to help those people, in need, those companies that need us for that, extra boost and to continue running.
So Amanda, both of you could probably jump in on this one. So in your role right now, specifically, are you, what has management said? Is it like your job, nothing has changed? You're still trying to get net new business. Is that correct? Or
Yeah,
what are,
so business as usual. Nothing has really changed except for the approach. That's something that we've talked about a lot. We still have goals that we have to hit, right? We're all in sales, so at the end of the day, that's the goal.
yeah.
But right now, it's hey, let's build more relationships, be more of a resource to someone, and really approach it in that manner. So from management down, that's what we've been told. Do what you can. These are hard times. Let's build those relationships. If it's not a now sell, maybe it'll be one in the future.
So let's talk about what was your pitch or your message before before COVID a month ago?
So a month ago, we typically partner with companies and we learn more about their supply chain. We want to see if we can help save them money and drive out costs within their network. So my approach a month ago was, hey, I would love to learn more about your supply chain. Want to see if we can help you save money to drive out costs within your network, and really gain a better understanding of what you're doing today.
And then, so now post COVID, what are you guys saying? Or in the middle
Sure.
of COVID?
Yeah. So now that, COVID-19 has graced us with its presence, my approach is more so, how is this impacting your company? Let's talk about that. Let's find out how it's impacting you and your organization. And is there any way that we can help you through this and maybe help lessen the impact of your company right now?
And so much of that is just, I think, to piggyback off that, is learning how we're helping our current clients. And then, as they kind of go down the road to recovery, explaining that to our current prospects who might be dealing with the same things, within the same industry. So hopefully we can help them on that road.
Do you all see a difference in the, do you see a difference in the way people are responding to that message? I mean, as far
Absolutely.
as yeah,
For sure.
What are you seeing, Amanda?
So it really differs from person to person. Some people are very open to having a conversation. They're very empathetic to the fact that everyone is in this together.
Yeah.
And then others are, hey, why are you even asking me anything right now? We're in the middle of a pandemic. Because I have a job to do.
Yeah.
So I think it just varies from person to person. I don't know if it's a personality thing, or maybe they just have an understanding that, hey, we're all in this together and let's have a conversation. But it's definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, and I think I like the idea that you all are sharing, like coming as a resource or coming as a value add to those prospects. And one thing you said, Amanda, earlier that I thought was, stuck out to me, especially someone who's still doing outreach for my business as well, is that it may not be something that's going to happen now, but it may be a sale for later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which brings up the next portion of our conversation is, what means are you guys seeing as you're doing your prospecting is getting you the most attention right now? Is that phone calls? Are people picking up the phones? Is it emails, or is it social? But which one of those are you leading with and you're seeing the most results from? Maybe we could start with you, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all seeing a mix right now.
Yeah.
Just looking at our team breakdown, we're still having meetings set from phone calls, emails, and LinkedIn, which we had before. So I really think we still have to stick to all three, because people work differently. I would definitely be better, reaching out to LinkedIn versus a phone call or whatnot. So I think people are still different. So we still have to be able to target our prospects and on multiple channels. But just being, respectful to the fact that they may be going through a lot right now. We don't necessarily know what everybody's going through.
Yeah. What about you, Amanda? What are you seeing? Same thing?
Yeah, so the same thing. I'm also, I'm getting, I don't want to say a lot of responses via email, but I'm getting a lot more opens on my email right now, and a lot more clicks to links that I'm sending. Just trying to be a resource for them. Hey, this is what we're seeing in the industry now. That has gone way up. It has skyrocketed for me. So that tells me that in the future, they're going to be somebody that I'm going to want to re-engage with. And the being a resource and trying to be there to let them know what's going on in the world is benefiting them in some way, because they're continuing to open and continuing to read those. And then LinkedIn, LinkedIn is my constant. I want to find out, hey, how are you? Right? It's just like you would talk to a friend right now. I want to find out what they're doing. So LinkedIn is my go-to right now for sure.
So, and let's pivot into that. So specifically with LinkedIn, we are spending more and more time there. What are you seeing that's working, particularly on LinkedIn, well for you? So, like, what ideas do you guys have, or any stories, or anything that your team has shared, or you seen that's being more effective when it comes to connecting with folks on LinkedIn?
I think really just being authentic right now, and not jumping right into the, hey, I want to sell you something,
Yeah.
but really just opening up with a conversation like you and I are having right now. Hey, how are you? How's COVID-19 affecting you? Are you working remotely? Just opening up a slower conversation and getting to know the person on a personal level. And then kind of saying, look, if you ever need anything in the future, this is how we can benefit your organization. That's been working really well for me.
What about
Yeah,
you?
and I think bringing that empathy piece into it from the beginning all the way to the end, making sure that I'm leading with that empathy and just making sure that they're doing all right at first and trying to have that conversation. And even if it is a no, making sure that I'm still following up with those people saying, hey, I hope you and your family are doing well, throughout this, just because those are people that I'm going to circle back to in a few months. So I want to make sure that I leave it on a good note, and that I'm looking out for people, not just, sending out those blank messages. Because when me or somebody on my team reaches back out to them in a few months, I want to make sure that they have a good taste in their mouth.
Yeah. Do you find that, how do you typically generate people on your list right now? Are you using something like a Zoom info, or are you just using Sales Navigator to get your leads in the first place, or just folks that are inbound, or you maybe have a database already?
Yeah, so we have Zoom info that we do use a lot, and then various platforms. We do use LinkedIn a lot too. Finding those people within the newer positions and whatnot, and looking at the different industries that we have success with, in particular at Blue Grace.
Yeah. What about you, Amanda?
Yeah, same. So we use Zoom Info, Sales Navigator, and then also I would say that our pipeline that we've built up over the past, I've been at Blue Grace for 2 years now and in the industry for 4. So really just reaching back out to people we've spoken to in the past, just to do that follow-up, hey, how are you? I'm here to help, is another thing that we're trying to do also.
I one of the things I counsel people on and coach my clients and teams I work with is to have a daily dose of LinkedIn connections, like people you actually reach out to and you build some connections with them. And then trying to get those people into the inbox. And so if you, let's say for instance, a BDR is doing 10 connections per day, 50 a week, those are obviously not all of them are going to accept your connection request, but let's say you do a personal note to them and you're seeing, getting half of them to respond back. Those are people you can open up dialogue with, like you're saying, Amanda, with that approach. That's one of the things that we do internally here as well. And I'm starting to share more content. Do you guys see that as well? Are you sharing content more? You find yourself sharing content, or anything that your company have that you're sharing, curating, or anything on that side of the front?
Yeah, so we're trying to share a lot more content, especially right now. We work with a lot of manufacturing companies that are shipping. So transportation is taking a major hit in places like New York and California. The cost is driving up tremendously in truckload right now. So just being that resource and putting together content to say, hey, this is what we're seeing in the market right now, to put that in front of them so that they have that information from, I want to be an industry expert in the room. I want to be the industry leader. So to give them that information, they might not have access to it. So we're absolutely trying to put more content in front of them right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel if there's anyone that's like SDR or BDR role, that's one of the big things I tell them. I've always preached that idea, but I think it's even more pertinent right now because you're going to find some people who are going to just sit back and they're going to say, I don't have anything to share. I don't know what to share, so I'm not going to share anything. It's like right now, everyone is on their freaking phones. Like everyone is either, if they're working from home, they're going to be on their phone even more. So it's like, can I get in front of get in their eyeballs, or get in front of their eyeballs and to take over their news feed, so to speak, their LinkedIn news feed. And I think one of the other things that I've seen to be working well to at least drum up conversations is I'm using the birthday stuff. Like when somebody has the birthday, I will, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I send a generic birthday thing back that, LinkedIn pops up. But what I've been doing recently is doing the generic, but also adding to it, hope you and your family are safe, or, saying something personal, like you're saying, give that empathy back to it. And if I doing something like that, it's providing some dialogue. And then again, for me, the only thing that I want is to start a dialogue and then to get the person to jump into a conversation. And someone did this with me yesterday, and a big shout out to him is the folks over at Refract. And anyways, we started, I sent the connection request, then I connected with him, and then we started to talk. And then, anyways, he led to the conversation about what I do, and then asked if he would be open to learning, if I was open to learn more about their solutions. I knew about it a little bit, but they had some changes. So we jumped on a call, and it wasn't like anything pressure. It was just like a 15-minute call, and he stuck to his guns when it was like 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes, and then determined if it was a fit or not. And it wasn't a fit right now. But the point is, he landed an appointment with someone that was, could be a potential interest that's maybe a not right now, but in several months once we pulled through this. And I thought that was like, it did it masterfully well. And there's a lot of empathy that led with it. And I think that's one of the big ideas there too, that SDRs can take advantage of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that birthday thing. I was just telling Jason, before our conversation today that I just used the same thing yesterday for a chief supply chain officer in a major company. It was his birthday. So we joked about spending it in quarantine. So yeah, that's a very good idea. It works.
Yeah. And what I've been seeing too is people with their role changes. Like I didn't think, many people are going to have their, new jobs, but I'm getting a lot of people saying, getting in different roles. So I'm hitting them up and telling them like, hey, congratulations on your new role, blah, blah, blah. And that's leading to conversation. And I never thought that this would be a good time for people to job change, but it's working. Yeah. Jason, anything else that you're seeing that you're taking advantage of? Anything else from LinkedIn standpoint that you've seen work well?
LinkedIn standpoint, yeah. I mean, definitely switching up the approach to not just sending the initial message and sending, maybe a follow-up message a few days ago. One thing that I know I struggled with when I first worked from home at a different job was when to cut off the working hours and, when you're done. So people will sit on LinkedIn on their phones on their couch and stuff. So just having those casual conversations, I think, even at 8 p.m. at night, if they respond or something like that, being able to pick that up, because people don't have that divide right now. And all these people are new working from home. So just having those conversations just as they come, I think is important, not just necessarily, 8 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, I always hate that. Like, just quit right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel even more so like today too. Like just now with this time and this challenges that we have that's going on, you always, and I think you said it earlier, you got to use that. We call it omni-channel approach, and you probably heard that, but like being everywhere and just being open and being willing to talk to people at different times. Just like a good little strategy to take advantage of.
Yeah, and absolutely. And then hopefully, when I give them a call, they know my name already. They've seen a post and they've seen an email. So trying to get, that's always our goal. But I think even now more with people, like you said, online so much, it can definitely help with answering the phone calls and actually having a conversation when they answer.
Amanda, you said something that I want to go back to, but also I think about it. You're the team lead. How many people do you have on your team right now?
We have 10 people on our team total, 11 people on our team total. Yeah.
So they're getting these getting these things when people are saying, the objection, so to speak, saying,
yeah.
it's why in the world are you calling me now? Or
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some folks who are probably a little bit more junior, and they're probably like, what do I say to this? What are you coaching them on that? Or how are you telling them to react?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm telling them that, hey, if they say, why are you reaching out to me now? When's a better time is not something that you want to ask, because we don't know when this is going to be over. So I'm telling them, hey, if they ask, why are you reaching out to me right now? Because I want to know how this is affecting you right now. COVID-19 is very new for everyone. It's affecting every industry and every company in different ways. So I'm talking to you now because I want to know, what are you doing now? How is it affecting you? And can we help you through it? So that's kind of our approach there.
Yeah, I really like that. It's like, but I think there's so many people who are just so afraid right now. It's like you've probably seen a post on LinkedIn or Reddit or these other places where these sales reps are just kind of like, I feel bad calling people. And it's like, well, if you have something of value, you shouldn't feel bad about that, even if it's not right now. It's just a way of pivoting it. It's like your moral obligation to help them know, I have a solution that can help you, especially as you're going through COVID, to change stuff up. Do you guys see any changes with the way that you're structuring your deals, or does that not, or pricing is not being affected anything right now?
Yeah, so our this is something else Jason and I were just actually talking about today. Our sales cycle, if you will, it's a very long sales cycle. It can take anywhere from 9 months to a year. Partnering with somebody to do this. So it's definitely affecting that aspect. And again, we've got deals in the pipeline now that the companies are going through major changes in their manufacturing. So we're trying to continue that open conversation and just slowly take things slower, if you will, to walk through it and let them know that we're here to help in any way we can.
Jason, what's one of the biggest frustration that you have right now that you're trying to work through?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely calling Amanda every single day when I get
Amanda's like, dang it, everybody's hitting me up.
Yeah, you definitely I've had to adjust probably 3 or 4 times. You get a nice opener of what you want to say and present yourself as a resource, and then it's like you get a response and you just have to adjust on the fly. And I think I'm doing that a lot more than usual. Normally you can adjust your approach every few weeks or something like that as a BDR. But now I feel like it's every day. We hear some different news, and we got to shift what we're doing. So I think that's something that's frustrating, but keeping you on your toes.
Are you guys? Have you guys ever experimented, or are you experimenting with videos at all, like using Vidyard or Loom or any of those tools?
Yeah, we use Vidyard.
Our team uses Vidyard.
Yay! See, I like you guys. I knew I like you guys even more so. Yeah, Vidyard. I mean, no matter what it is, I use BombBomb, but I love Vidyard. So,
I'm just kidding.
And we've partnered with Vidyard recently and featured some other top folks on our podcast, people who have won some of the awards with video. But the point is, I feel, especially right now, video can be that way, going back to what we're saying, to give that personal thing, a personal connection, as well as to show some empathy, because it's like a real person. Like if I saw Amanda there with that awesome background and awesome picture, Amanda is saying, like, hey, Donald, just want to check in on you, or something to the nature, want to see how you're being affected by this. We have some resource I think could help you. Be like, okay, let me see what she has to say. I'm open to learning more. I'm sitting at home working right now, and I got more time. So can I entertain this conversation? It's like, yeah, let me see. And I think that's, and maybe being a sales rep, I'm even more lenient to other salespeople.
I think it's kind of in our blood.
I know, right? Somebody comes with a lame old pitch. I'm like, I don't care. Let's talk. Let me help you. Come here. Yes, let me give you some time. I'll give you at least one appointment today.
Yes, and then I'll coach you on how to maybe do better next time.
Next time you do this, don't cry. That's cool. If there's any other tips you have for folks who can take advantage of LinkedIn right now to help them with to staying in touch or to building up those rapport, any other advice you guys have that you would give to someone, the BDR, SDR listening to this episode?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
I was. Go ahead, Jason. You can go
all
first.
right. I'll leave this out. One thing we did kind of touch on, but I think just understanding that you're going to have to make adjustments to the normal role, whether that is, setting a meeting 2 weeks out instead of the next day, or just having that sales cycle out a little bit longer, or just the way that you interact with people on LinkedIn. Making those adjustments is definitely, going to be a necessity in order to continue to set meetings and stay relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say obviously be empathetic, but be authentic. I think that we're so scared that we're gonna, interrupt somebody's day, and they're going through everything with COVID-19. We interrupt people every day anyway, like even before COVID-19. That's what we did. We're in sales. We want to find out what you're doing. Don't be scared to reach out and find out how you can help someone, and just be authentic. If you're having kids running around the house and you're trying to work full time and figure out this homeschooling thing, like, be honest about it. I had a conversation with someone the other day on LinkedIn about the same thing. Everyone's going through what you're going through, so just be authentic and don't be afraid to use your environment to open up a conversation.
Yeah, I really like that idea of using the environment, because I think sometimes we, especially as salespeople, we try to put on a front like we're, I don't know about you, but you probably see this with some sellers, but some salespeople, they just want to be perfect or try to give off that view that they're perfect. It's like, bro, no, it's not. Like the other day I was on a call and I have a 7-month-old, and those pipes are working on him because he's down there screaming. And folks understood. They're like, yeah, don't worry, we know where you're coming from. We thought it was our kid for a second. I was going to hit mute. So, but it makes it human, right? And I think that's what we need more so than ever, no matter what strategy you use, no matter what tactic. And one of the other tactics that I tell people strategy is to use the LinkedIn voicemail. Again, they can hear your voice and they can hear the realness in you. And that's one of the things.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. A coworker, Tori, just told me that yesterday, that she, got a voice recording from you. She's like, Amanda, you may want to try this. I was more inclined to answer him. So it does work. It absolutely does work.
Yeah, it's like it's different. It definitely have the novelty, but also the fact is you can send a text, like a text written out message, but when somebody is I think it's the expectation now that I have to respond, because if Jason sent me a message and it was a voice, it would be so rude not to respond at that point. When he took that much time, it doesn't take much time, but he took an effort to do that. It's like, okay, my mom didn't raise me to be that much of a jerk. So,
it's just like the videos. When you get the BDRs and stuff like that, people are definitely more inclined.
Yeah, it's the curiosity. It's like, why did I do this? And then what you circle back what you said about the empathy, those things work so well. And the other thing that I'm sharing too, and that maybe this is something you all are seeing, is encouraging my team to interact more on people's content that they're sharing. So certain few people are sharing stuff on LinkedIn, and if I could encourage them to interact on those posts, then what happens is that they get more people that they can connect with. Because what we do, let's say for instance, if Amanda did a post on homeschooling and taking care of a kid and working right now full time, and then Jason, you comment on her post, we are not connected, I send a LinkedIn connection to you. I might say, hey, Jason, I saw we both commented on Amanda's post. Yeah. The struggle is real.
Yes, it is.
Looked over your profile, thought it'd be great to connect and learn from you. Permission to connect here on LinkedIn. And then now I add you, but you interacted with her post because you're probably at the same level as she is, and you could be a potential prospect. Like, again, not that now or maybe a month from now or whatnot, but I'm going to at least do that to help build up the relationship. And I think sometimes we tell entry-level folks, BDRs, SDRs, or even AEs, go interact, and they don't know what to do, but giving them some specific things like that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. I asked for your one tip, but is there anything else that you guys would like to share? Any other advice? I know you got tons of wisdom. So I probably could keep you for like an hour here, but
Obviously.
if you were one major takeaway you want somebody listening to this episode, one major piece of advice you want them to walk away with, start with you, Amanda. What's that advice?
Sure. Push through. This is going to end. So just maintain positivity. This isn't going to be, the norm forever. So embrace it while you can. One of Blue Grace's major things that we say all the time, one of our core values is embrace chaos. So embrace it and lean into it and make something of it.
I love that. Embrace chaos.
Yeah.
There you go.
May I borrow that?
Absolutely.
Dude. And how about you, Jason?
Yeah, I don't have a one of our quotes, embrace chaos to throw in there like Amanda, so mine's probably not as good. But definitely for SDRs in specific is to just keep pushing through when you get those, people that are maybe nasty on the phone or something like that, just because they might be going through something that you don't understand right now. So in a time like this, making that next call as quickly as possible, sending that next email, I think is so important, because people are going through things that aren't normal life right now, or hopefully, something that we'll never have to experience again. So I think that has been the hardest thing to adjust to, but something that has, made me benefit.
That's awesome. If folks out there want to get in touch with you guys to stay connected or potentially to do business with you, what's the best way for them to go about doing so? Start with you.
LinkedIn, always LinkedIn.
All day. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. I have my email on there, and I think number too. So LinkedIn is the go-to.
All right. So we'll put that stuff in our show notes, and so folks can find you on LinkedIn and so they can connect with you. But Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And Jason, appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime. That was Amanda and Jason, and I highly recommend you go and connect with them. You can find them on LinkedIn. Please, please, please tell them that you heard them on the Sales Evangelist podcast. I know they'll appreciate that. And also, the other thing I want you to be aware of is that, when it comes towards helping other sales professionals improve and grow, there's nothing like just telling them about content and things they may not know about. So share this episode with your friends, someone you know in your team that can benefit from it as well, and they can take advantage of these practices. Speaking about taking advantage of things, use the gifts from our sponsors. If you haven't taken advantage of their offers, please go ahead and do so. You can find all the details in the show notes. As always, we share stuff like this. We bring on folks like Amanda and Jason because we want to help you. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them, and I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to go out each and every single day and do big things. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.